Alright everyone, we have very major news here, so a special video that I decided to make cross-platform. Elon Musk has officially offered to buy Twitter. And by buy Twitter, I don't mean he wants to make a bigger investment. No, he has made an actual filing, a move to buy everything. To buy Twitter outright for $42 billion, which is, by the way, massively above its actual evaluated price. Certainly far above his initial buy-in. He bought almost 10% of it, of course, not long ago, at a much lower rate. That may, by the way, have just been to save a couple of $1 billion, which, if you look at it in the strictly mathematical sense alone, that's basically what this would boil down to. Now, some people are already saying, well, Twitter will never sell. I will explain why actually Twitter may accept the offer. I'm going to do quite a bit of analysis here. I'm going to do the best that I can, of course. I've got dad brain at the moment, so I'll try to be coherent. Here are my thoughts. First and foremost, we'll go to Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He didn't get that way by principle alone, although I do think he does have ideological principles. I think he does support free speech in the general notion of the term, but he's not doing this just out of the kindness of his heart to restore free speech, etc. That's a good marketing ploy. Oh, we're going to be a free speech site again. Twitter will be like it was maybe 10 years ago when it was more expressive, before we banned a bunch of people and alienated tens of millions of our own users, arguably hundreds of millions maybe at this point. That's a good way to get people to flock back aboard to Twitter, and massively expand your share holdings, basically the value of the actual stock. It's a good way to do that, to grow the site. Older sites, they follow the same model as corporations in general. Corporations at some point peak, and then they begin to decline. And very rarely do they experience a second renaissance and grow again. Elon Musk is probably uniquely qualified as one of the few people who can actually pull off what he appears to be wanting to pull off. Now, he's offering 42 billion big ones. Here's why the deal may actually go through. Elon Musk buys in. And again, it may have been a cost-saving measure. He bought near the maximum of stock, and he bought it when it was in a low. If you look at the money that he's offering now, in the basic proposition would be he would save $2-3 billion effectively in buying the rest of it up, even if it's higher than it was before because he bought in. He makes out like a bandit potentially. Twitter may have no choice but to take up the offer, and here's why. Imagine you're a Twitter stockholder. So you're a minor stockholder. You're 0.5% or something, not even on the board of directors. You're hoping this deal goes through, because all of a sudden Elon Musk is giving you more than a third above asking for the stock. It's going to make you more money. And probably looking at the slow decline of Twitter over the last few years, again, as it alienates people, you're saying, well, that might reverse course. Maybe I'll make even more. If you're looking to sell out now, you hold Twitter stock as part of a portfolio or something, you got 2% or something like that, and you bought in years and years ago, and it peaked, and then you've been watching that wealth decline. You spent $500 million in Twitter stock, and all of a sudden, with inflation by the way, it's worth $300 million. You're probably pissed, and you're hoping beyond hope, if you're still holding it, that there's a sunny day that you can get rid of that stock on. Other people will begin buying in, the price will begin to climb. If Elon Musk is accepted, the stock price goes up, the shareholders are happy, the users are happy, the disaffected side of users. The liberals saying, well, I'm going to leave Twitter if Elon Musk buys it. That's basically the equivalent of I'm going to move to Canada if Trump is elected. It's horse shit. None of them are going to leave. It won't even, by the way, necessarily have a massive sea change in the way that Twitter works. I expect that some of the banned people will come back. There will be some process by which they can do that. Maybe they end the concept of a permaban. Maybe they say, okay, we're going to go back to square one. We're going to eliminate all the bans that aren't for things that are like legally actionable. Like, oh, you posted illicit porn on Twitter. You were posting death threats against politicians or something. But this person over here, all they did was say something that was construed as offensive. Well, fuck that. We're just going to get rid of that strike on their account. We're going to have more clarity, more transparency. That's all good for Twitter as a site. The shareholders, I'm sure, right now, that have any clout at all, are calling up Twitter's headquarters and demanding to speak with the CEO. Or they decline the offer. They say, no, we're sorry, Elon, we're not going to accept your offer. Yes, you're offering more than 30% above the actual value of Twitter. You're offering to buy us out. The CEO would love this idea. Oh, yeah, you talk about golden parachutes. We're talking about billions of dollars in his case. Probably would get a payoff on the side as well. No, we're going to reject your offer. Shareholders begin to flee. Elon Musk shorts the stock, probably sells it off. I mean, consider this. The stock is considerably higher than when he bought in. He can sell it off for 10, 15% less, and he can still break even. He completely crippling Twitter stock, causing investors to flee. The investors will look at Twitter HQ. They'll look at the people that are leading the company and say, you just got the golden deal of all golden deals. You were just offered over 10 trillion excess dollars for your site. And you said no? Well, I don't have any faith in your site. I'm offloading too. Buy. And they'll begin selling it off. And the stock goes into the decrepitude, essentially. It goes into a death spiral. Users that have been banned off the site, they'll all be talking about it too. And Elon Musk was smart. He bought in. I think this was something he intended to begin with. I think he thought this up months ago. I don't think that Elon Musk in a million years bought into Twitter stock saying, hey, I'll get 10% and they'll put me on the board of directors and I'll magically reform the site. Because that's not how boards of directors work. It's not how shares work. It's not how stocks work. It's not how any of these things work. Elon Musk is a massive business magnate, a branding genius. Think what you want about his personality or any of the other things. I'm not part of the Elon worship cult, but he is a genius at branding. He's done this before, launching cars into outer space at great expense, etc., etc. He's better at branding, I think, than anything else. His branding's better than the fucking cars, arguably. He's got him over a goddamn barrel. Because if they turn down the offer, everyone's going to crucify them. It'll be hilarious. I almost hope that they turn Elon Musk down so that their stock plummets by 50, 60% and Twitter folds as a company. It would be hilarious. Effectively, it would be the equivalent of Elon Musk buying Twitter and deleting it. Only he didn't have to buy Twitter. He bought part of Twitter, offloaded it at a convenient moment, broke even, so he didn't really spend any money doing so, and Twitter still dies. Oh, and Twitter, the people there, they know what's going on. They know that he planned this ahead of time. And they were more than happy. They were very amenable. They were very, very charitable and gregarious when he first bought into the company to the tune of almost 10%. Oh, we want you on our board of directors. We think you're very valuable. We value your insight. You're a wonderful person. Oh boy, did they make a mistake doing that. They should have known a hostile takeover was in the works. But this is a very unique one. This isn't Elon Musk going to individual shareholders and offering them more money to simply sell their privately held shares. This is Elon Musk effectively putting the backs against the wall of all of Twitter and saying, look, the people that use your site aren't happy with the trajectory of how it's being worked. The shareholders are not going to like it if you turn down this offer because you're not going to get another one. Nobody else has the money to give you this kind of offer that wouldn't get immediately sued by the government for monopolistic purposes. Imagine Jeff Bezos tries to do this. Well, Jeff Bezos already has a massive tech empire. If he tries to gobble up Twitter, he'll end up like Mark Zuckerberg. He's not going to do it. Zuckerberg, tangential, he's not going to do it. Bill Gates isn't going to do it. Some of the others, they're not really in the tech game. It's Elon Musk. So I think that they may actually go along with the deal. Now, what happens if the deal goes through? Elon Musk becomes sole owner, sole proprietor of a newly private Twitter, no longer maybe even publicly traded. I think it'd be good. It'd be better. I mean, can it really be worse than the dumpster fire of censorship and stupidity that currently is Twitter? And what about Twitter alternatives? Of course, I'm on Gab, I'm on Getter, I'm on Parler, etc. I'm on Minds. I support all of these sites. I realize there is more purism of free speech there than you're going to get on Twitter. But wouldn't it be nice if there was one site that didn't have to be puristic and alt, in which people could congregate and simply speak as they want. And in his filings and in his statements with regards to his filings, he's seeming to indicate that that's what he wants. He wants a dumpster fire, but not a censorship dumpster fire. He wants a dumpster fire of trolling, effectively. Oh, but I mean, if he does this, if he pulls it off, if he grabs up Twitter, more power to him, and I'll be happy to keep using the site. If they turn it down, I don't expect to be on the site long. Twitter will go on a censorship rampage in retaliation, number one. Number two, their stock price will plummet so much that pretty soon they'll be the next Yahoo. Well, nobody's going to want to use that. Nobody wants to use Yahoo. They don't even have Yahoo Answers anymore. So thank you, Elon. Really cool. To the people at Twitter, if you're not complete lunatics, you will take the offer. Take the L. Sell out, grab your money, realize you're receding into the backstage of history, and allow the site to actually be usable for the first time in a half decade. That's about all. Peace out.